Alright guys, hopefully we got a little quick video today. We're going to work on some synthetic division. Alright, we've already done long division, right, of these problems, but we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm cool with either of these methods. So there's long division, there's synthetic division. I tend to like long division. I don't know. I just like it a little bit more, but you might like synthetic division. I think it's a little bit less writing, but and maybe a little bit less work, but you have to be able to figure out and understand how to use synthetic division if that's something that you want to do. So I'm just going to use all the space that I have provided, but understand that I'm not doing long division. We're doing synthetic division today, all right, the second part of this lesson. So let's get right to it. All right. Again, we have x squared plus 3x minus 43 divided by x plus 8. Okay. So in order to set this up, right, before we were setting up using the division sign, right, doing long division, here we're going to do something a little bit different. Right, where we're going to set up something that looks like this. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the coefficients, right, which are 1 in front of the x squared. We have 3, right, positive 3. And we have a negative 43, right? You can see the coefficients there. What we're going to do is we're going to put those inside of this box and space them out. So it will be 1, space 3, and then finally negative 43. So I just took the coefficients and put them inside of this little box, right? Now we need a number to go outside of this box right here, okay? What number are we going to put there? Well, if you look at this binomial, right, x plus 8. If we set that equal to 0, what would x be, right? Well, we've done this before, right, finding our zeros, right? If we set this equal to 0, we'd subtract 8 to both sides, minus 8, and we'd get x equals negative 8, right? We've done that in the past, right? So that's essentially what we're doing, right? To figure out what number goes on the outside, look at the binomial, right? Here we have x plus 8, so what's the opposite of 8? It would be negative 8, so it's the opposite of what we have in here, right? We have a positive 8, so we're going to take that out and make it a negative 8 because x plus 8, when it equals 0, x is equal to negative 8, so this is one of our zeros, right? So the first thing that we need to do is bring down the 1, all right? No, different color here. Bring down the 1, and we have a 1 here, okay? That's the first step, right, is bring down the first number, right? So now what we need to do is multiply this negative 8 times 1, right? Negative 8 times 1 gives us negative 8, so we're going to put that right here, and we're going to add those. 3 plus negative 8 gives us a negative 5. All right, again, now we're multiplying that negative 8 times negative 5, okay? And we end up getting positive 40. And we do have a remainder. This is going to end up being our remainder. Our remainder will end up being negative 3. And we're done. Now we have to finish this. So we have to put this in the correct form. We are all done, right? This is our first term, second term, and our remainder, which will end up being our third term here. All right, so let's write them out. So in order to figure this out, look, we started here with x squared, right? X squared is the biggest exponent we have is squared, right, to the second power. All right, so it's always going to be 1 less than that, right, because x squared divided by x gives us x, all right, so we're starting with 1 less. So if x squared is your biggest factor, the first one will be x. If x cubed is your biggest, then this first one would be 1x squared, right? So 1x squared or just x, 1x or just x. Okay, minus 5, all right, because after x is the first, the next one is the constant, and then we have a remainder of 3, and we do the same exact thing with the remainder that we did with long division. We just put that over top of the binomial, so it's minus 3 over x plus 8, and we're all done. All right, so this is synthetic division. All right, again, we're going to work on a few more of these. If this isn't your thing, if you're confused about, this part right here, again, how did I come up with x there? Well, look at this, right? We have x squared divided by x will give us what our first variable will be, right? So in this case, x squared divided by x is x, we put the coefficient 1 in front of it, right? We don't need to write the 1 there. So whatever number comes first is the coefficient of that first term, and it will always be one less exponent than the biggest exponent we have in our trinomial, all right? Or our polynomial. All right, next, let's go down to number 7 here, all right? Let's set up our box. All right, put our coefficients inside of the box, 2, -16, and 19. Nice and organized. All right, here we look in here, n minus 7, so we put the opposite of what it looks like, so we're going to put a positive 7 in there, right, because n minus 7 equals 0. When we solve for that, we get a positive 7, n equals 7, so that's going on the outside. All right, so as I said, bring the first number down, 2. That will be our first coefficient. 7 times 2, right? 7 times 2 gives us 14. -16 plus 14 gives us a -2. 7 times -2 gives us a -14. 19 minus 14, or 19 plus -14, either way it works, is 5. And that is our remainder. The last one, if we have a number left over at the end, that is our remainder, which again just goes over top. So, as I said, what is the highest exponent that we started with? It's squared. All right, so n squared divided by n will give us n, so we're left with 2n. I'll just put this right up here. 2n, that's the first coefficient, minus 2. All right, now we don't have any variables, it's our constant, and then 5 is our remainder, so plus 5 over n minus 7. And that is our answer. So again, you can see it's less work, but there's less information, I would say. There's less information given to you, so you really have to understand the process and understand how to fill in the variables at the end. All right, so again, notice that we had an n squared here, right? So 1 less than that is n to the first, which is how we ended up with that n to the first there. All right, let's do this last one here, and like I said, it's going to be a short video. I'm going to post another video. It's the same guy that I sent you guys last time. He does a few more problems. He does problems without remainders. So I think it's definitely, since this is going to be a shortened video, I think it's a good idea to go into that and check that out. All right, so let's go to number 8 and get this one done. All right, using synthetic division. All right, so we're going to create our box, set that up. Now this one has 4 terms, right? So we need to make sure our box is a little bit bigger. All right, the first coefficient, look in here. First coefficient is 1. Next coefficient is 5. Next coefficient is -7. And then the last one is 2. All right, and we have y minus 2, so it's going to be a positive 2 on the outside here. All right, so let's get it started. The first thing we do is bring down the 1. All right, bring down the 1. 2, sorry, didn't bring down the 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Add these together. 5 plus 2 is 7. 2 times 7 is 14. -14 plus -7 plus 14 gives us positive 7 again. 2 times 7 is 14. And this will be our remainder. 16. That's our remainder. I'll circle it. All right, now we need to set this up. Again, what is our biggest exponent? Our biggest exponent was to the third, right? Y to the third divided by y would just give us y squared. So that's the first variable and exponent that we will be having. It's our first base. So here we go. Let's write this out. Our first coefficient is 1, so it's y squared, 1y squared, okay, plus 7y plus 7 plus 16, and because that's a remainder, it goes over top of our binomial, y minus 2. And that's all she wrote. We're done. As I said, it's a little bit less work. Okay. Now I do want to do number 9, all right, and we can do number 10 as well. Since this is a quick one, we'll be done within 15 minutes here. So this is missing powers in the dividend, right? So what does that mean? All right, well, we see k to the third here, right? Where's k to the second? Where's k to the second? There is no k to the second. Well, what do we have to do then, right? Well, we have to fill in the missing powers, and we fill in the missing powers with 0. So if we're doing synthetic division, when we go up to this box here, right, you see how we have our coefficients here? Well, if we're missing a power, so in this case we had y to the third, y squared, y to the first, and a constant, so we are 100% good there, right? There's nothing missing, right? But if we had something missing, right, for instance, this was y to the third, and then this was not here, right, what we'd have to do is instead of having a 5 put here, right, we would have to put a 0 in. So let's do that for the one we are working on currently, right? So let's make our box. And we start with k to the third, right? That's our highest exponent, so the coefficient is 1. Now, where's k to the second? Does not exist, right? So what we're going to end up doing is placing a 0 there, right? So if there is no if there's a missing power, right? That's what's called missing powers in the dividend. We have to replace it with a 0, okay? Then we're left with negative 17. Everything else is there. And then finally 32. Okay? And we do our thing. Put a negative 5 on the outside that I got from my binomial when I set it equal to 0. All right? Bring down the 1. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. 0 plus negative 5 gives us negative 5. All right. Negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. 25 minus 17. Negative 17 plus 25 gives us 8. All right. Negative 5 times 8 gives us negative 40, and this is our remainder at this point. All right. 32 minus 40, or 32 plus negative 40, gives us a negative 8. And that is our remainder, so I'll go ahead and circle it and write this out, right? Our biggest exponent was k to the third, right? So we will be doing one less than that, so it's k squared minus 5k plus 8 minus, right, because this is a minus sign, right, minus 8 over our binomial k plus 5. So not bad. Even if we're missing an exponent, right, if we're missing a power in our dividend, it's no big deal. We can just simply fill that in with a 0 and move on, business as usual. Let's do this last one and call it a day. All right. Creating the box here. Now, we have x to the fourth, x to the third. We're missing x to the second, right? So we're going to have 5 different terms in here, right? Because then we have x to the first and then our constant as well. So we're going to have 5 terms inside of this box, right? This is the biggest one we've done so far. So our first coefficient is 8. The next one's not missing. It's minus 64. Okay. This one is missing. X squared is missing, so we need to just fill in a 0. All right, plus 3. No, I don't need to write plus 3. I can just write 3, and then minus 28. And they all fit right there, nice and snug. All right, so 8's going on the outside here. All right, got that from our binomial. Hopefully you're getting used to that. All right, first thing we do. Great job, Kent Barrow. Yes, we bring down the 8. Well done. I could hear you. All right, bringing down the 8. Okay. 8 times 8 gives us 64. All right, 64. Oh, boy, what's happening here? Well, negative 64 plus 64 gives us 0, so just bring that 0 down, right? 8 times 0 is 0. Sheesh. 0. 0 plus 0 gives us 0. All right. 8 times 0 gives us 0. 3 plus 0 gives us 3. All right, and then finally, 8 times 3 gives us 24. This is our remainder, and we're going to unpack this in just a second, so we end up with minus 4 as our remainder, which I've been circling, so I'm going to continue to do that. Now we just need to finish this up by writing out the finished factored polynomial here, okay? So here we go, 8. What is our first exponent going to be, right? Well, we have x to the fourth here. X to the fourth divided by x gives us x third, right? So we're going to start here with x to the third, right? So 8 x to the third. Next we have 0 and 0. That means x squared is not going to be there, and that also means that x will not be there, right? Because 0 times x squared is just 0. 0 times x is also 0, so there's just not going to be a place for those. So we're left with plus 3, which will end up being our constant, which is why I wrote these out. If you can see right here, I wrote those out just so that, just to remember that, that's our x squared number right there, and that's our x number. They are zeros, so they're not showing up. And then finally minus 4 over our binomial, which is x minus 8. All right, went a little over 15 minutes. Not bad though. Do this. All right, get this finished, and finish up the homework assignment. I want you to finish up the evens. I think I had you guys doing the odds. All right, so do the evens. Try using the synthetic method. Right, but overall, you can use either method, synthetic division or long division. That's completely up to you. Whatever you like the most, whatever is most comfortable to you. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I am dealing with hotspots today. My internet's really acting funky. So I'm trying to download everything as quickly as possible. Just bear with me. And again, let me know if you have questions. I will do my best. I'm also posting that other video from YouTube of the organic chemistry guy or whatever. That same video or same guy that I posted in the last video. He's amazing. I actually watched him before I did this lesson. Just to kind of get some insight and input as to the best way to approach this. So he knows what he's talking about. It's a great video. I will post that as well. Good luck to you, and have a great weekend, guys.